With us getting into our joint mock draft, I am going to be drafting for the AFC teams, and John is going to be picking for the NFC teams. So I am the first one on the board. What? You good? You say something?
Yeah. I was waiting for you to make a pick. You said I'm the first one on the board.
All right, so here we go. And I'm going to say this right now. With the Raiders being the first pick on the board, I've talked about this for weeks now, ever since the Raiders have signed Kirk Cousins, right? I have been feeling like the Raiders were going to shop the number one pick, right? And I still have that feeling. I still have a feeling that they're going to make that move by tomorrow or by draft morning.
That's Mendoza's spot. No way. He's a Raider.
My pick.
I know.
My pick. And as you look, the Raiders, they need quarterback, offensive guard, offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive tackle. And they also do, well, they don't need edge rusher because they went out and got edge rusher. So with that, hold on. I have this. I got to put this up. The pick is in. With the first pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State.
No way! No way!
I feel like the Raiders are going to shop that pick. I do not feel like Mendoza is going to be a Raider. I feel like he is going elsewhere, and I am keeping it to my personal feeling that he will not be there. And since we are not doing trades, in this mock draft, I'm going to keep it real to my personal, and I'm going Carnell Tate to the Raiders at one. And I know this is a shock. I know it is. I know it's a shock, but you know what? I'm okay with it.
Fired as the GM. You're fired.
Now, the New York Jets are on the board at number 2. And the New York Jets, they need wide receiver, edge rusher, quarterback, linebacker, and offensive guard. So with that, the pick is in. With the second pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the New York Jets select David Bailey, edge rusher, Texas Tech.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, I'm writing this down as we go here.
All right. Well, David Bailey was actually my pick for the Cardinals because I thought Fernando Mendoza would be going to the Raiders. So, but with your throwing a big monkey wrench in the draft, at number 3, the Arizona Cardinals could possibly have just gotten the steal of the draft with quarterback Fernando Mendoza of Indiana.
So you're taking Mendoza?
Oh, I have to. I can't pass him up.
And that's exactly where I think he is going. I think that he is going to end up an Arizona Cardinal. Sorry, I'm writing this down as we go.
That's crazy. Tell you what, everybody's happy for the Cardinals if that happens in real life. But truthfully, I don't know if he would make it past the Jets because the Jets need a quarterback also.
Yeah. But I think the Jets will go defense on this one. But Tennessee Titans coming up. Edge rusher, linebacker, wide receiver, offensive guard, running back. Pick is in. With the 4th pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Arvell Reese, edge rusher, Ohio State.
Okay. That's a good pick.
The Giants are up at 5.
And with the 5th pick, the Giants are going to go out and get themselves an offensive weapon, a nice 1-2 punch at running back, and quite possibly Cam Scatterboo insurance, because let's just say it, he's a reckless runner. He looks for hits that he doesn't need to take. The Giants are drafting running back Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I should have wrote down every team before I did this. I'm literally writing everything as we go, like the team, the player. I'm trying to go fast here. All right.
I know you are.
The Cleveland Browns are up, and I feel like the Cleveland Browns are definitely going offensive line here. I think the Browns defense is defensive ready. With that 6th pick in the Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Cleveland Browns selects Francis Mayoga, offensive tackle, Miami.
Okay. I like that pick. Give their young quarterback somebody to block for him.
Yep.
And that brings us up to the Washington Commanders at 7. And with the 7th pick, the Washington Commanders are going to draft safety Caleb Downs of Ohio State.
Wow. Oh, man. Okay.
I've only had to make one pivot so far because of that crazy first pick. So everything's going according to plan so far.
All right. And the Saints are up on 8, and that's you.
Right. And with the 8th pick, the Saints are going to help their defense and draft who I believe is the best player in the draft, edge rusher Reuben Bain Jr. from Miami.
All right. All right. So the Kansas City Chiefs are up at 10. And Chiefs definitely need help on defense, edge rusher, cornerback, but they also are looking to build on their offense. Tight end, wide receiver, offensive tackle. And I do think that the Chiefs do need help on that offensive line. So with that 9th pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle, Georgia.
Ooh, okay. Good pick. He was going to be my pick for the Lions at 17. Good pick. Okay. Which brings up to the newly acquired pick for the Giants. I said it earlier in the show. At number 10, the Giants draft wide receiver Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State.
Okay. Took my pick at 11.
Really? Well, he wasn't going to go there until the Giants jumped up. He wasn't going to go there. I had to literally change everything today.
So I'm going to say this right now. If the Bengals were at that 10 pick, they were taking Sonny Styles. That's who I had the Bengals. I have the Bengals taking Sonny Styles in everything. I do.
Okay.
I do.
Well, he's still available.
He sure is. But the Miami Dolphins are up. They're looking for wide receiver. They're looking for defensive back help, offensive line help, edge rusher help. And, I mean, the board is stacked with defense. So I think the Dolphins, even in the second round, can get a pretty good defensive player. I think they need to go offense in this first round. And since Jordan Tyson went to the Giants with the 11th pick, the Miami Dolphins select Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver from USC.
Okay. I had him going to 13 at the Rams. Okay. All right. And that brings up to number 12. The Dallas Cowboys are on the clock, and they could go a lot of places here. But Dallas likes to make sure they have a good O-line, and I think they're going to keep working at it. They're going to get that O-line back to what it used to be. And to lead that O-line, they're going to go with offensive tackle Caden Proctor from Alabama.
Okay. All right.
Okay, now this is my first real pivot because I have 3 selections that I could possibly take at every pick. And all 3 players for the Rams are gone. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, you know what? This is going to be my first pivot. And let's see. I think I'm going to have the Rams take, just because he's fallen all the way down to 13. I think I'm going to have him take linebacker Sonny Styles from Ohio State.
Good pick.
Even though I think they really go receiver at this spot, but
good pick. That would be huge if he fell into the Rams' lap.
I know.
Huge. All right. So the Baltimore Ravens are up, and one of their biggest needs is defensive tackle. But defensive tackle, again, just like I feel like offensive tackle, that they can go into the second round and still get somebody pretty decent at defensive tackle. Even if they don't have an opportunity at Caden McDonald or Kristen Miller, they can still get a Lee Hunter or Caleb Banks. I think the Ravens will be good in the second round after offensive tackle. One of their biggest needs that they need is in the guard position, and there's not many top guards in this draft. So with that being said, the Baltimore Ravens, with the 14th pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Oliveira Ione, offensive guard, Penn State.
Okay, I like that pick. Which brings us to number 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to go defense with this pick for the Buccaneers to help try to bring back that defense that used to be so dominant. And they're going to draft edge rusher Akeem Messidor out of Miami. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Messidor.
I got Akeem Messidor going there. I think I did practice mock drafts the past couple weeks, and I think I have Akeem Messidor going there, I think once or twice. So I could definitely see it. I could see Messidor going there. And he doesn't have to travel far. It's right down there in South Florida.
Yep.
So
good
that's
spot
huge
for him to land.
Good spot. New York Jets are up again. And yes, went David Bailey, went edge rusher with the second overall pick. So I think the Jets with this pick, they're going to concentrate on the offense, and they're going to go wide receiver. So with the 16th pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub mock draft, the New York Jets select Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver, Indiana.
Okay. I like that pick for them. So that brings us to the Detroit Lions. And I have them going offensive tackle. 2 of the 3 players I had that I would draft for them are gone. So that only leaves 1 left on my board for the Lions. And the Lions are going to take offensive tackle Blake Miller out of Clemson.
Ooh.
Yeah. I had Monroe Freeling there, but you nabbed him early, so I had to go to one of my backup choices.
So Blake Miller out of Clemson. All right. So the Minnesota Vikings now on the board. This is where you have 4 picks in a row. Lions, Vikings, Panthers, Cowboys.
And the Vikings going to go with that defensive backfield and they're going to take safety Dylan Thiemann out of Oregon.
Ooh. I have Dylan Thiemann going to Minnesota a couple times as well.
Which brings us to number 19, the Carolina Panthers. Now, I could go defense here. I could go offense here. The Panthers are a team that is trending in the right direction. Their rebuilding seems to work. So I'm going to go ahead and give Bryce Young another weapon as the Carolina Panthers draft tight end Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon.
Yep, I seen that coming, and I had a feeling because there's a lot of talk about the Panthers picking Kenyon Sadiq. So that is why if the favorite of him going to Philadelphia is going to happen, Philly is going to have to try and move up.
No, that changed when they brought back Dallas Goedert. He's not. Yeah, the moment he signed him, they re-signed him back. All that talk kind of quieted down.
So,
and which brings up number 20, Dallas's Cowboys' second pick. I went offensive tackle Caden Proctor in the first with their first pick. Their second pick, I'm going with the defensive line. I'm going defensive tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson.
Okay. All right. My original first practice mock draft, actually 2 or 3, I think the 2 first ones I did, I had Peter Wood originally going to the Ravens, but okay. I kind of steered my way away from that because I looked at the Ravens and I was like, they really don't need that type of help on the defensive line. They don't. I mean, they got a young stud in Adisa Isaac who can be a built-up guy at edge rusher. I mean, the Ravens are pretty set at defensive line in a sense, so that's why I steered away from Peter Woods going to the Ravens, and I started focusing on that offensive line a little bit for them. So, but Peter Wood, I had to focus on him. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are up with the 21st pick, quarterback, offensive guard, linebacker, wide receiver, and safety. Now, there is a lot of talk right now. Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? What is he doing? And I think the Steelers' patience are wearing a little more thin this year than they were last year on the decision. I think Pittsburgh, if they don't get an answer from Aaron Rodgers by Wednesday night, that they are going to make their decision in the draft. So with that, the 21st pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama.
I 100% agree with that pick. I think whether he gives an answer or not, Simpson's going to be a Steeler, and they're going to get their quarterback of the future. I 100% agree.
He is climbing up the draft board as far as rankings. He is. Right now, he's 33rd.
If by chance the Steelers go defense, I could see Miami trading up to get him, like maybe to number 30.
Now, the Chargers are on the board, and this was a little tricky because one of their top needs is offensive guard, but I think they'd be able to get an offensive guard in the second or third round. They definitely need help on the edge rush and defensive tackle. Their defensive backfield, they definitely need help with. So with the 22nd pick in the 2026 Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Mansour Delane, cornerback, LSU.
Okay. I like that. So that brings up your Philadelphia Eagles.
My Philadelphia Eagles.
So I got to ask, who would you like the Eagles to go at this point?
You know, I've been thinking about this, and I know we talked about Kenyon Sadiq, and you know, I had my sights set on him coming in, but with the Panthers talk lately, I don't see it. I think the Panthers are going to sweep him up with their pick at 19. I do. So then I thought about what else could the Eagles go for. They need help in the defensive backfield. Maybe they go after Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Maybe if Jermod McCoy or Colton Hood's on the board yet. but they also do need help at the linebacking and edge position. So I could see them going CJ Allen or Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker. And if Keldrick Falk or Zion Young or TJ Parker is still on the board, they go after one of those guys. So they are definitely, I think, going to go defense at the 23 pick.
Okay, well, I have them going offensive tackle Mac Ihinokor out of Ohio State.
Okay. All right. That's a good pick. I mean, they're definitely going to have to start thinking about upgrading that offensive line pretty soon.
Yep.
And if they're going to start, you could start now. Just like we talked about with San Francisco. I mean, bringing a guy that can get mentored by these veterans.
Yep.
So my personal feeling, I think that the Eagles would have an opportunity to get an offensive tackle in the second round, just like a lot of other teams. That's why I feel like they might go deep. If one of these big players are still on the board on defense, I think they still would go defense. But we'll have to see. Cam said nah. I'm guessing Cam is talking about my Ty Simpson. Are you talking about my Ty Simpson pick? Is that what you're talking about? I'm guessing because that was like 2 minutes ago, and that's when my Steelers pick was.
Yeah.
So
Cam doesn't want Ty Simpson. He says
All
we're
right.
going with Rodgers and Howard.
So Cleveland, I feel like, needs to build their offensive line because their whole offensive line became free agents this year, and they brought, I think, one guy back from that whole starting offensive line. Took an offensive tackle in Francis Maiagu in the sixth overall, and I think the Browns stick around on offense and go back to the offensive line. That is where I see them taking offensive tackle Spencer Fano out of Utah.
Okay. That's a fair pick. Which brings us to the Chicago Bears. Getting to the quarterback was probably the Bears' biggest problem on defense. They were great at interceptions. They were great at creating turnovers, but they were not very good at getting to the quarterback. So with that said, the 25th pick, the Chicago Bears draft edge rusher Zion Young out of Missouri.
Oh, you just stole my Bills pick. You
had to make me do a real pivot for the Rams, so we're even now.
You just literally stole my Bills pick. All right.
Well, like I said, I have 3 picks for every team, and all of the Rams went for number 13, so I had to really think about that one.
All right, now I get to write players because I got all the teams written out. So we went Zion Young, edge rusher.
Nope.
That's okay because even though you stole my pick for Buffalo, Buffalo is the one team that I had a backup plan for just in case. Because by this time on the board, a lot of the edge rushers were going to be off the board, all that stuff. And I think there is one guy that's still going to be on the board at edge rusher for Buffalo in real life. If Tampa doesn't take him, because I Tampa taken this guy as well in one of my practice draft mock drafts. So with the 26th pick in the 2026 Huddle mock draft, the Buffalo Bills select Keldrick Falk, edge rusher, Auburn.
Oh, okay. Okay. And now we're at pick 27, the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to be very happy if the 49ers and the commissioner reads this pick for San Francisco with the 27th pick. The San Francisco 49ers select wide receiver KC Concepcion, Texas A&M. The guy I want. So, and I hope I'm glad I could get him in this draft, and I hope they get him on Thursday.
I think KC is going to be there for them. I don't think they're going to have to make any moves to get up and get him. I feel like San Francisco is in a good spot to get him, and he's going to be there for them. I don't feel like they're going to have to worry about it. I don't. a lot of these teams are going to be going on edge rusher, offensive line, defensive backs. So, all right. The Houston Texans are on the board, and I have 4 picks in a row before we close out this round. So, the Houston Texans, they obviously are building their offensive line. Their top need on offensive line is guard. They can get an offensive guard in the second round. Defense, as far as defensive tackle, they can get a defensive tackle in the second round if they wanted to, but I don't think they're going to wait. With that being said, with the 28th pick in the 2026 Huddle Mock Draft, the Houston Texans select Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, Ohio State.
Okay. Get that anchor in the D-line. I like that.
Yep. All right. Now, the 29th pick is by the Kansas City Chiefs, and with their first pick back at 9, took offensive tackle Monroe Freeling. Now, this may be a tricky spot for Kansas City because if any of the top defensive backs are still on the board, I think they'll go after them. And who I've been saying for a while now, I feel like Kansas City's going to go after is still on our board with that. The Kansas City Chiefs at 29 are going to take Jermod McCoy, cornerback, Tennessee.
Okay. I agree with that pick. That's a good pick.
Okay. Trying to write as fast as I can here. The Miami Dolphins, with their first pick back in the number 11, took Mekhi Lemon with, and they're another team that also needs help in the defensive backfield. They need help at edge rusher and their linebacking core. So with the 30th pick in the Huddle Hub Mock Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Colton Hood, cornerback, Tennessee.
It was one of my backup choices for Seattle. Now I'm down to 2 picks for the Seahawks. That's all right. I'm pretty sure my normal pick I was going to pick is still going to be there.
So as far as the New England Patriots, their top needs right now would be wide receiver, edge rusher, linebacker, tight end, and safety. They don't really need too much help on the offensive line. They're good. They're set up. Now, could the Patriots go after a Denzel Boston or Chris Bell? Yeah, but they can get him in the second round. The move for A.J. Brown seems pretty imminent. It's going to happen. So they got to go after the next top guy of need. So with that, the New England Patriots, with the 31st pick, select linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia.
Okay. Work on that defense. I like that. And that brings us to the last pick of the first round. Number 32, the defending Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks let Kenneth Walker walk. He is now a Chief. And they didn't really replace him until now. So the Seattle Seahawks, with the last pick in the first round, draft running back Jadarian Price, Notre Dame, and they will once again have a 1-2 punch this year with Charbonnet and Price.
All right. All right, so that's that. That's the first round. That is who we think is going to be. It doesn't give me the rest of who would be in the top 32 that we left on the board. It's all good, but that's the first round, and that is our mock draft and who we think and what's going to happen on Thursday when the draft officially starts.